Senate Democrats and House Republicans on Tuesday outlined vastly different approaches to shoring up the government's finances, illustrating their divergent fiscal strategies even as both sides insisted publicly that a bipartisan fiscal compromise was possible. As part of that compromise effort, President Obama made the rare lunchtime appearance at a weekly gathering of Democratic senators, his first of 4 meetings with lawmakers on Capitol Hill this week, to explore ways that the two parties could at last overcome some of their differences over the budget and fiscal matters, which have left them bitterly divided for much of the last 5 years. But in reality, the two parties could not be taking more different paths. House Republicans, led by Representative Paul D. Ryan of Wisconsin, laid out a tax and spending plan that would cut spending by $4.6 trillion through 2023, in large part by rolling back many of the president's signature legislative accomplishments. It would repeal the healthcare overhaul of 2009, eliminate the subsidized insurance exchanges and Medicaid expansion that make up the core of the law, and turn Medicare into a system of private insurance plans financed by federal vouchers. The Republican proposal would also do away with Wall Street regulatory laws that Mr. Obama championed and cancel the financing his administration sought for a high-speed rail network. Senate Democrats, meanwhile, were moving forward with a budget they planned to start debating on Wednesday. In their meeting with Mr. Obama, which lasted more than an hour, several senators said they expressed concerns about cuts in popular entitlement programs like Social Security. And in their budget they plan to exclude changes Mr. Obama has said should be left on the table, like an adjustment to how the inflation rate is calculated that would reduce certain federal retirement benefits. In stark contrast to the austerity measures and dismantling of top Obama administration priorities that are included in the Republican plan, the Democrats' budget went in the opposite direction. Their proposal would create a $100 billion economic stimulus initiative for job training and repair to roads and bridges, projects that Democrats say they would pay for by closing loopholes in the tax code that benefit large corporations and wealthy individuals. All told, Democrats believe they can save nearly $1 trillion through such tax reform. They would save $1 trillion more by trimming spending, with a quarter of those cuts coming from the military. As lawmakers began their budget deliberations, the stopgap measure to finance the government after the end of the month ran into trouble in the Senate as Tom Coburn of Oklahoma and John McCain of Arizona, both Republicans, raised objections to what they called wasteful pork barrel spending even as the government was trying to absorb $85 billion in cuts. Democrats immediately seized on the Republican budget as a sign that the party had failed to heed the lessons of the 2012 elections, which denied conservatives the presidency and cut their ranks in both houses of Congress. This budget reflects the same skewed priorities the Republican Party has championed for years, the same skewed priorities Americans rejected in November, Senator Harry Reid of Nevada, the majority leader, said in remarks on the Senate floor on Tuesday. "We've seen this show before." Mr. Ryan, who was the Republican vice presidential nominee last year and whose budget became a lightning rod of liberal criticism for its steep cuts to domestic programs, said the election results would not persuade Republicans to give up the fiscal fight. "The election didn't go our way, believe me, I know what that feels like," Mr. Ryan said at a news conference during which he was asked repeatedly why his party was doubling down on proposals that the American people appeared to reject when they voted for Mr. Obama over him and Mitt Romney in November.